8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Indrani Senanayaka. The headlines. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that priority will be given to solve the problems faced by farmers. It has been reported that the goods export income and the import expenditure have increased considerably. The Industrial Development Board plans to increase school industrial entrepreneur teams up to 3,000. Water needed for the Yalla season will be released from the 6th of this month. The proposed water formula will be introduced without affecting the people. In foreign news, Ukraine's strategic goal in 2024 is to make Russia's war felt in Moscow. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that priority will be given to solve the problems faced by farmers amidst the many challenges the country has to overcome to rebuild the country. There is a need for competitive crop export agriculture. He pledges that the largest agro-modernization program will be implemented soon. He made these remarks while participating at a ceremony in the Thamalagammuwa Divisional Secretariat Division in Trincomalee. The people in the area have submitted their problems to the President. The President has advised the relevant officials to solve these problems speedily. The government is implementing a program to develop Trincomalee with support from the Indian government. There is a plan to provide fuel through a pipeline from India. Many development projects will be implemented to develop the entire Trincomalee district. The Central Bank report has pointed out that the goods export income and the import expenditure have increased considerably in the month of January when compared to last year. The foreign remittances have also increased in the month of January compared to the previous year. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with local news. The Industrial Development Board plans to increase school industrial entrepreneur teams up to 3,000 with the support of the Ministry of Education. It is difficult to build an export-oriented economy due to the lack of entrepreneurs. Therefore, the country's entrepreneurs should be increased to achieve the required goal. A special program is underway at school level in this regard. This program will be implemented covering all 9 provinces. Minister Pavitra Wanyarachi says that the public should use water sparingly, although there is a sufficient quantity of water for irrigation purposes for the forthcoming Yalla season. She made these remarks at a meeting in the Mahaweli area. Water needed for the Yalla season will be released from the 6th of this month. Minister Jeevan Thondaman says that the proposed water formula will be introduced without affecting the people. Water bills will not be increased this year. He also stated that the aim of the President is to provide solutions to the problems faced by the minority communities. Housing and land issues of the Tamil communities will also be solved. That ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
On to the main news story. A high-level discussion was focused on to recommence the Vallachennai paper factory. This has been organized by the Sectorial Monitoring Committee on the National Economy and Physical Plan. More than $1 million will be spent for the reconstruction of this factory. It is expected to produce 5 tons of paper daily, and that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
We now take a look at watchlight. The temperature felt on the human body is expected to increase up to caution level in some places in the northwestern, western, southern and Sabaragama provinces and in the Mannar district, according to the Met Department. It means fatigue is possible in case of prolonged exposure to the heat these days in these areas. Heat cramps and heat exhaustion are possible, and extensive activity in the outdoor environment can lead to heat stroke. That came to you in Watchlight. Coming up, World News. First, the headlines. Ukraine's strategic goal in 2024 is to make Russia's war felt in Moscow. A woman has to be stronger than a lion to cross the sea. Iris Apfel, US fashion designer, dies at 102. The European Union is upping its military aid from 28 billion euros in the past 2 years to 21 billion euros this year alone, but that is still not enough to replace United States military aid stored in Congress. The Financial Times reported last month that certain US officials urged Ukraine to play defense in 2024 and conserve strength for a counter-offensive next year. Defensive operations do not necessarily present Ukraine with more opportunities to husband material and expand reserves, wrote the Institute for the Study of War, a Washington-based think tank, in a scathing critique of that advice. On the open sea, thousands of kilometers from land, on a flimsy blue wooden boat, 21-year-old Linda from Daraa, Syria, didn't care if she lived or died. She and 125 other refugees had left the Libyan coastal city of Sabart in the dark of night, and her only goal was to get her sick mother to safety, away from the war, back home, away from the freezing sea they had been drifting in for nearly 2 days with no food or water. Then their boat was intercepted by German search and rescue vessel Humanity 1, and Linda, her mother, and the others were saved. American designer and fashion icon Iris Apfel had died at the age of 102. The self-described geriatric starlet was known for her distinctive cropped white hair, oversized glasses, bright lipstick, and chunky beads. Apfel reached the peak of her fame in the 1980s and 90s, but is a familiar face in Paris fashion shows for more than half a century. She also served a host of celebrity clients, including Greta Garbo and Estee Lauder. Her death was announced to her almost 3 million followers on Instagram with a picture of Apfel sporting her renowned oversized round glasses. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Ukraine's strategic goal in 2024 is to make Russia's war felt in Moscow. A woman has to be stronger than a lion to cross the sea. Iris Apfel, US fashion designer, dies aged 102. And that ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
A new maternity hospital constructed in Karapitiya will be opened by President Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 27th of this month. Minister Dr. Ramesh Patidana said that this will be one of the most fully fledged maternity hospitals in South Asia, and that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
The first T20 match between the visiting Sri Lanka team and the Bangladesh team will begin on Monday. 3 T20 matches are to be played between the two nations. Charit Asalanka is the captain of the Sri Lankan team, and that was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Etihad Airways of the United Arab Emirates will increase its flights to Colombo from the 1st of May. Currently, 10 return flights are operated weekly. This will help promote the tourism industry among the Middle East countries, and that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The Agrarian Development Commissioner's Office says that the government has already distributed 11 billion rupees for fertilizer among farmers for the paddy cultivation in the Maha season. 15,000 rupees per hectare has been deposited into farmers' accounts to cultivate paddy in the Maha season. This shows that 98% of the money has been deposited into the farmers' accounts, and that was economic news.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Kalutara, Ratnapura, Nuwara, Gaul and Mathura districts in the evening or at night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere in the island. And to end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that priority will be given to solve the problems faced by farmers. It has been reported that the goods export income and the import expenditure have increased considerably. The Industrial Development Board plans to increase school industrial entrepreneur teams up to 3,000. Water needed for the Yala season will be released from the 6th of this month. The proposed water formula will be introduced without affecting the people. In foreign news, Ukraine's strategic goal in 2024 is to make Russia's war felt in Moscow. And that ends tonight's news broadcast. The time reads 3 minutes to 9 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka. Radio wherever you are. Radio Sri Lanka. Radio Sri Lanka, the station to the nation.
International Women's Day 2024. This year theme, Imagine a Gender-Equal World. A world free of bias, stereotypes and discrimination. A world that's diverse, equitable and inclusive. A world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together we can forge women's equality. Collectively we can all. Behind every great woman is another great woman. Kate Hodges.
You driving, listening to the radio, drinking your coffee, talking on your phone. You could use another distraction. I'm still loving you. Wow.
The world's most beautiful music for the world's best listeners.
This is Radio
Sri Lanka.
The time reads a minute to 9 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka. And, of course, Chandima, very, very good evening to you. Trust you are fine. And, of course, we are going to be together right until close of transmission at 10 and present Family Choice together. So let's have loads and loads of fun. And, of course, today is the end of the beginning of the weekend. I have to say this when you're around, Chandima. And tomorrow morning will be the beginning of the end of the weekend. And Monday will be the beginning of a new week altogether. So there we are. So we got this sorted out now. Let's say hi to every single one of you tuned in. Wish you nothing but the very best indeed for a lovely, lovely evening. A very pleasant one. And we hope that we'll give you a wonderful, wonderful night's sleep so that you can wake up tomorrow in a wonderful mood. So all the best to every one of you tuned in. And, of course, to whom do we say hello to right now?
Well, we'll figure that out later. But in the meantime, let me wish you a very, very good evening to Indrani and to all our lovely listeners out there. And thank you so, so much, Indrani, for those lovely wishes. And, with the time moving to precisely 9 p.m. in another 3 seconds, let's begin the show with something by Elvis Presley.
All right, okay.
Okay, it's never-ending love. From us to you.